Hi Fad Campers, it's Grace here and I have some new stand-up dates I'd love to tell you about. If you're based in the UK, I will be doing some dates in July and August and I'd love to see some of you there. I'll be in Leeds doing a work in progress with Amy Annette on July 4th in the Hyde Park Book Club. I'll be in Brighton on July 6th with Alison Spittle in the Comedia Comedy Club, and I'm going to be doing my own work in progress show in Glasgow on July 12th at Good Egg Comedy. Also then I will be at the Edinburgh Fringe, of course, for the entirety of August, from July 30th to August 24th. I'll be at the Assembly George's Square, the Crate, 10 to 3 every day. Would love if you could tell anyone you know who's going to be at the Edinburgh Fringe to come see my show. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
This show is part of the Head Stuff Podcast Network.
What's the best way to reduce? Eat plenty or starve yourself?
30 pounds in just 18 weeks. Jenny Craig totally worked.
I love to eat, but overeating made it impossible to lose weight.
My body wants bread, and I'm going to give my body what it wants.
Oh my God.
So I lost
Naturally.
Medical studies prove that overeating is the number one reason for weight gain. If you need to lose weight, use safe and natural spring way and bring your weight down without the use of the same.
Welcome to Fad Camp, a podcast that throws a comedy eye over our societal obsession of diets. Now, a little disclaimer, we are not health experts, but we are fad diet connoisseurs. I'm your host, comedian Grace Mulvey.
And I'm your co-host, Conor Dowling.
Welcome to Fad Camp.
Hello and welcome to another mini episode of Fad Camp. These mini episodes are to get us through our summer break. And in saying that, hello Conor, how is your summer break going?
Oh, it's going great. How's it going? Good to be here.
Oh, I'm delighted to be here. And to be honest with you, as I said, we were kind of talking before this and I was like, what's been nice about these mini episodes is that like basically over the year, what I do in our Fad Camp WhatsApp group is bombard Darren and Conor with just links to articles. And I don't even say anything. I just send the link and then I'm like, for future episode. I don't say hello. I don't say goodbye. Because unless I'm on this podcast, I'm a real bitch to you guys off air. So,
It's true.
But it's really nice to kind of trawl through all the stuff that you've seen throughout the year that you're like, oh, this wouldn't be a full episode, but it's like so interesting. I'd love to get to talk about it. So these mini episodes have actually been a bit of a treat for us to be able to go and chat about these things. But this episode, let's get straight into it, okay? Conor, I don't know if you've heard about this, okay? But there is a new law that has come into effect in New York City, baby, the Big Apple. And it is a law that is basically a ban on weight discrimination.
I have heard about this, actually. Yeah. Up until this point, weight discrimination was okay. It was allowed.
Up until this point, it was celebrated, Conor.
It was encouraged. It was encouraged. I mean, like in HR interviews, they just bluntly ask you how much you weigh, apparently, in New York City. They didn't realize that wasn't okay. It's such a weird thing that it's 20, that this article that when I first saw it, I actually saw it months ago, but then I kind of did an update on it when we were coming into this episode. And the article that I'm referencing here for this is from the New York Times, and it was published on May 26, 2023. Isn't it insane to think that basically there has been a ban on weight discrimination in 2023 in New York City, in one of the biggest it's about
modern
time.
cities?
But I feel like it's probably just the first place to do that. Like, it's like, is there bans anywhere else, or?
I kind of looked up very loosely because we were going to focus on this story really, but like I looked it up and yeah, there is like, you know, laws in other countries that basically like, you know, you can say, well, not even laws, but it's sort of like weight discrimination. It's not seen as like a disability, but it's sort of like, do you know what? Maybe we'll do another future mini episode where I go into the kind of worldwide what it looks like. But I was basically just going straight into the fact that this was being declared in New York, and a bit of history behind it. But I will look into it. Actually, we'll do a further mini episode where we can talk about like kind of worldwide what weight discrimination looks like, or if there are any laws banning it. But this is from the New York Times article. Okay, Mayor Eric Adams
which a great name, on Friday signed into law a ban on discrimination in New York City based on a person's weight. The law adds weight and height to the list of characteristics that are protected from discrimination along with race, gender, age, religion, and sexual orientation, and will apply to employment, housing, and access to public accommodations. So what's so mad to me, it's not just weight, it's also height.
Wow.
Which again, didn't realize you could, that like legally, apparently you could discriminate against height in a workplace.
That's crazy. Oh my God.
Mr. Adams. Yeah, Mr. Eric Adams, who's the mayor, a Democrat, is in his second year in office, had expressed support for the bill, which was approved by the city council earlier this month. That would have been in May. Mr. Adams, but listen to this, Conor, which I think is very funny. The Mayor Adams, who published a book in 2020 about losing 35 pounds on a plant-based diet, said on Friday that the law would make workplaces more inclusive and that people who are applying for a job should not be treated differently. What I find so funny is that he came out with some sort of weight loss book.
That's hilarious.
And I was like, the plot thickens. Like, what's happening?
Well, clearly it's a cause that's very close to his heart. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. This is a quote from Mayor Adams. Science has shown that body type is not a connection to if you're healthy or unhealthy, he said. I think that's a misnomer that we're really dispelling. I did think that was very interesting. I'm kind of happy that he said that.
Yeah.
He was like, actually, the way you look doesn't kind of like directly link to your health.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, and it definitely shouldn't affect your, like, you know, your rights.
Well, it's funny because another kind of representative, I know, again, this is another one for the books where Grace just butchers a person's name. Sean Abreu.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that name, yeah.
Yeah, he sponsored the bill to ban weight discrimination and said people treated him differently when he gained weight. Apparently, I think over the pandemic, he gained something like 40 pounds. And he said that people started treating him differently. I love when people are like, do you know what? This has started to directly affect me. So I think I'm going to bring it into law.
Oh, yeah. Nothing like a bit of empathy to kind of grease the wheels a little bit. You know, it's a shame that it has to get to that point, you know, but they're like, now this affects me.
I love the idea of someone being like, they're just like, you know what? My friend was murdered. So I think murder now should be
exactly.
Yeah. The law is part of a growing national campaign in the States to address weight discrimination, with lawmakers in New Jersey and Massachusetts considering similar measures. Michigan and Washington State already prohibit it, as do some cities like Washington, D.C. This was so interesting because in this New York Times article, they had as well certain references to people who kind of talked about how weight discrimination had affected their lives. Mm-hmm. So a student at New York University said that desks in classrooms were too small for her. A soprano at the Metropolitan Opera said that she faced body shaming and a pressure to develop an eating disorder.
Oh.
Which, again, in opera, I feel like fat people should be more celebrated.
Absolutely.
It's where we thrive, people.
Definitely.
We thrive at the opera.
Yeah, I mean, there is, people say that a bigger body gives more resonance, you know, when you're singing, having a bigger instrument, literally a bigger guitar makes a bigger, louder, richer sound than a small guitar. You know, it's
Is that true?
Yeah, that's a thing. Now, and that doesn't mean that you can't have someone who is, you know, very thin, blasting out super powerful vocals, but often a larger body will offer deeper resonance. You know, it's just science.
Joking.
It's just science, Grace.
Conor, you are joking me. You're blowing my mind.
That's the thing.
I just thought weirdly a lot of opera singers, I don't know, we're just fat people. I was like, I don't know if there's any connection here, but they just are. They just seem to be having a great old time. That is mental. Okay. Some business leaders and Republicans had expressed concerns about the bill, including Catherine S. Wild, a president of the Partnership for New York City, a business advocacy group, who said that it will be an onerous mandate for companies and will place a burden on regulators and the judicial system. I don't know what that means. Now, in this article, they are stating that obesity rates have risen in the United States over the last 2 decades, and more than 40%. Oh, crazy. And more than 40% of American adults are considered obese. Now, of course, we would argue that's probably based on the BMI system. And as we all say, the BMI system is bullshit.
Yeah.
So take that as you will. But the body acceptance movement and self-described fat activists have sought to reduce bias and shame around weight. So, you know, like, we know this, the body acceptance movement, body, you know, like, it's trying to basically raise awareness that, like, overweight people are not inherently unhealthy and thin people are not inherently healthy, and diets often fail. That's just like what, you know, people are trying to put the message out there. So, but what's interesting to me, Conor, is that, first of all, like, I was like, oh, this is very interesting that only now weight discrimination is considered a discrimination, which we all knew. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
No, we all knew that, like, you know, personally, due to personal experiences or anecdotally, we know that there's discrimination out there. Like, people know this. I mean, even like if you go onto TikTok, honestly, you will find the amount of, like, even just like bigger bodied people, fat people who find it difficult to do everyday things, not because of they themselves, their size, but because our society is not structured for them. So like airplane seats, like a lot of fat people have to buy 2 plane seats, and you'll see them like on the phone with the company because it's actually very difficult to buy. If you think about it, if you're booking a flight, you can, as long as you can say what person is going to be in that seat, you can buy the seat, but you can't buy 2 seats under one name.
Oh, yeah.
Not on the website.
Oh, God.
So actually you have to call them up and be like, yeah, I want to buy 2 seats, but I only want to buy it for one person. So like,
when you're
you see
filling in the details of the name, you put your own name in, passenger 1, passenger 2, you just put in like fat.
Well,
type that in. And it's like, that's what the second seat is for.
For my left arse cheek. Yeah. Like, it's just like, but you know, and even like seatbelt extenders, things like that. But like, there was one great TikTok, which I'll share it on our Instagram, of a fat woman who just went to a normal hotel, and she was like, I'm, after paying like money as much as everyone else, I've paid a lot of money to stay at this hotel. The hotel did not fit her means, like, because now as well, because hotels are trying to make as much money as possible, rooms are smaller. Do you know what I mean? Like bathrooms and all that sort of stuff. There was like, she found it difficult to sit on the toilet because the toilet was like so against the wall. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or even like the bath or like the shower. These things are like, we notice it, like things are getting more, the smaller and more like squeezed in. That she's like, I'm after paying for this, and like now I can't use it. And like, say like the bathrobe and stuff like that. I will say also anecdotally, towel sizes, I have a real problem with.
Oh,
okay.
Don't get me started. That's a whole season of Fad Camp on that topic.
I would love to be able to like daintily close a towel around myself without like my little vag showing out because there's a gap.
I'm looking at these articles as well, and I'm seeing that one of the things says employees can still be fired for being overweight in most areas in the US.
So no.
But several, because the laws change from state to state. So obviously New York are one of several cities and states to have introduced or passed legislation to end that practice. But that means that there's a ton of states in America where that's like a reasonable, legal means for firing someone for their job.
And like, to me, then that's a very hard thing to.
Yeah.
Like, you could then, as an employer,
and we're not talking about people who are working in like a donut factory or something like that. They're like, guys, stocks are low. Does anyone know anything about this? Like, and there's just like one heavy guy going like, oh, don't look at me. Like, okay, like.
I love that like, if I was working in a donut shop, I know that the employer would look at me first, and I'd be like, "Well, rude."
Yeah, but now if you live in New York, right, and you could sue the shit out of your boss for even suggesting it might have been you who was sneaking the donuts.
Do you know what I would love though? The brilliant plan would be to move to New York, work in a donut shop, actually eat all of the supplies.
Steal them all,
and then look them directly in the eye and I'm like, I dare you. I dare you to try fire me because I will
bleed you dry in court on this. I'm gonna. This is my plan. This is why I moved to America and did all of the visa, the green card.
Yeah,
and now I'm gonna take you for everything you've got.
This is the ultimate long con. The ultimate long. If anything, I've been fat since I was a child just so I can pull this off. I've been waiting for the day that this law is going to come in.
They're playing right into our hands.
The evil fat people of the world just being. Yeah. But what's interesting to me with this New York Times article was that there's a certain part of it that I was like, oh, like I think of fat acceptance and activism as a real like sort of like modern idea or movement. Mm-hmm. Well, Conor, it is not modern at all. Oh. Apparently people have been arseholes to fat people for years. So we're mental. New York City has been a center for fat activism since at least the 1960s, when a crowd of 500 people held a fat-in at Central Park. So like not a sit-in, a fat-in at Central Park in the 1960s. Isn't that so much fun? Now, I looked up a little bit about this fat-in, which is now what I'm just going to call my life. It's just been one big fat-in. So in 1967, 500 people came together in Central Park in New York to protest bias against fat people.
Wow.
Together,
Wait, sorry, what year?
1967.
Wow. Oh my God.
I know.
Because like, whenever you see any like documentary footage of the 60s in America, it was like, civil rights and Woodstock and the hippie movement and stuff like that, and everyone was thin and hot. Yeah. Like, there's no documentary evidence of this.
That's actually so true. Everyone's just thin and hot and wearing like these like bell bottoms and like you're like, oh wow, like that was just the way it was. Yeah. But no, like apparently there were 500 fat people back then as well.
Yeah. So that's where it all started. That's where it all started.
They all met in Central Park and it spread
and just proliferated. Yeah. Oh, disastrous.
But they came together to protest bias against fat people. Together, this group 8 carried signs of protest, burned diet books, and photos of the model Twiggy.
Oh my God. This sounds like a topic worth exploring. That sounds very fucking interesting.
I know. And but like, this is so interesting because again, like I was like, oh, I'll cover this episode on this new law that's coming in New York. And then it was like this little, like it was like the smallest part of the article was this little paragraph being like, there once was a fat-in. I was like, a what? Like, how have I not known about this? But yeah, I mean,
and they were all exterminated by the NYPD. Like that was just like they were all gunned down, and from it, this chapter was removed from modern history.
That's it. And we never saw a fat person again.
That's crazy. So, I can't believe that.
It's absolutely nuts. It is really cool. I think like there was more to it as well, which
it points that there has been discrimination, back then. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
This isn't new. Mm-hmm. Which I just think, again, you almost have to remind people that it's not new. And I always think of that. I think it was the point that Christy Harrison did say, where she's like, if there has always been fat phobia, even in like the history books, or like, I don't know, I'm sure cave paintings, there was some arsehole who drew one of the fat people. Like, do you know what I mean?
I just laughed at it.
But like, if there's always been fat phobia, it means there's always been fat people. Mm-hmm. And so like, you have to remember that in history, we sort of look back and just totally revise it in our heads. Yeah. But anyway, to bring us back to present day.
You know what I think is an interesting point to mention as well is that like, for all of the causes and all of the groups that are discriminated against, in the world back then and today and, continuously, like fatness, I guess, it crosses over all genders, all races, all cultures. Do you know what I mean? So people, it is kind of a universal thing in a way,
Oh, completely. Like we're everywhere, Conor. No, it's so true. It's like, and I suppose like, we have yet to maybe cover cultures that might celebrate fatness or anything like that. But like, it is very much a Western idea. And as we say, it's rooted in racism and, that fatness is seen as like something that's wrong and bad, and you know what I mean, like
and savage,
and it's savage and terrible. And I think that like, yeah, it is interesting that you bring that up. But it is like it fatness comes for us all.
Yeah.
But like, it's the beautiful unifier. Like, you know what I mean? Everywhere, in every corner of the world, there are going to be fat people, and it does like. It doesn't matter about your gender or your sexual orientation or your religion. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is such a mad thing to think that it can affect every type of person in society, really. Like, but anyway, sorry, going off topic, bringing us back to present day. The chairman of the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance. What a great, I mean, listen, it's a non-profit advocacy group. Said Tigress Osborne said she hoped that other cities would approve similar laws to send the message that size discrimination was a serious injustice. The bill's sponsor, again, Sean Abreu, is the councilman from Northern Manhattan. As I mentioned before, he said when he gained weight, he noticed people treated him differently. He said that the law would make employers think twice about discriminating against heavier people and raise awareness about the problem. He said, and I quote, "It's also about changing the culture in how we think about weight."
Thanks for listening to this episode of Fad Camp. As always, we want to thank our producer, Darren Lee. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to review us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Great ratings and reviews really help more people find the show, and it would mean a lot to us.
Make sure to share the episodes with friends and family or on your social media. Every listen helps.
And we absolutely love hearing from our listeners, so please get in touch with any of your diet stories on fadcamppodcast@gmail.com.
Hi, I'm Gerard Farrelly.
And I'm Niamh Kavanagh.
And we have been friends for a very long time.
And we regularly solve each other's problems. And now we'd like to solve yours in our podcast, Agony Rants.
It's a weekly show where we offer you unwavering support.
It's true. And it's the place to go if you need a place to vent or to get thoughtful advice.
It's a serious lawsuit waiting to happen.
Now, Grode, there isn't a problem that can't be helped by having a comedian and a Eurovision winner dissected before your very ears. Agony Rants is 40 minutes with two friends who just want to listen to you.
Niamh wants to listen. I dip in and out.
Agony Rants has a new episode every Monday, and you'll find us wherever you do your listening.
This show is part of the Head Stuff Podcast Network, a hub for the creative and the curious. Shows are produced in association with Head Stuff and the Podcast Studios Dublin. Find out more or become a member at headstuffpodcasts.com.